know exactly where that is. From 7 to 9 next Tuesday, he's going to be giving away tickets to the Cowboys NFL Draft Party at Gillies on Saturday the 29th, and you can register to win Dick's Last Resort gift certificates and ticket T-shirts. Now let's talk about Cowboy football. On a Bob Steak and Chop House hotline, here is last year's number 11 pick in the first round of the draft, Cowboy linebacker Demarcus Ware. Good morning, Demarcus. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really good. Really good. You feel a little more relaxed this year than you were last year at this time?
Oh, man, I feel so much relaxed. Everything is not going 100 miles an hour, you know?
Demarcus, what was the combine like? Where they round up like 330 bodies, and you all have shorts and T-shirts, and you get poked and prodded for a week.
It's just like rounding up a whole, like 100 cattle and just seeing which ones could perform the most or which ones can, you can milk the most, you know what I mean?
So what's it like to have like 10 or 15 or 20 guys standing there and all start clicking their stopwatches when you run?
It's crazy. It's almost like, it's just like you just trying to perform for every single one of them, and you can't, satisfy every one of them. And it's like, you're just going crazy. You know what I mean? You don't know what to expect from any one of those guys. You
also have interviews at a place like that, and lots of teams want to talk to you individually without identifying the team, because I know you're not going to. What's the weirdest? No, I mean, it makes no sense to make sort of tiny little enemies or fun of people in the league. What's the strangest thing you were asked last year?
It's just like weird stuff of like what type of animal you would like to be. I mean, what type of animal you would like to be in an interview, or where would you like to live? What your favorite subject is? There's things that don't pertain to football. You know what I mean?
Well, wait a minute. What's your favorite animal?
A lion.
Oh,
now, jungle baby.
now, see, Demarcus, I think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
If you said wildebeest, they just said, we don't want this guy.
Maybe a hyena, they say, well, he laughs too much, he's just a clown,
Yeah, and a hyena never kills anything on its own. It just eats up what other people kill. Take me to draft day last year. Let's go to the morning. In the afternoon, you're going to watch TV. What's it like the hours of the morning of draft day?
It's like it's sort of like Christmas Day. You know what I mean? You never know what type of present you're going to open up that day, what's going to actually happen that day, but something good is going to happen that day. You're just anticipating, for the call, just sitting there just waiting, and then all of a sudden, you open up your present. Someone gives you a call, and it's actually just your time to talk to the guys and just get ready to go to the team that they're offering.
Demarcus, did any teams call you that morning to ask things or alert you to things?
Actually, my phone was really quiet that morning. No one actually called. I actually tried to have it off, but after the draft, my whole phone box was full, text messages were full, my battery was dead in like 10 minutes. So after the draft, everybody called. Well,
I talked to you last year as soon as you were drafted. We've always had fun with the fact you thought it was the Cowboys calling, and it was actually a radio station calling.
Actually, wasn't it you guys?
we were ready to negotiate your contract right there on the air.
Say it again.
Once the first few picks go, I mean, there were people talking about teams that were interested in you at 5. As 5 comes and goes, and 7 and 8 and 9, do you start to get nervous at all?
Actually, yes, because, teams, they hype it up. Hey, you might get drafted by this team. This team is really interested in you. And then all of a sudden that team's gone. They pick someone else. So you're like, oh, man, who's next? The next team is not even interested in you, but they pick you up. And so, it's a big downer. Then you're up again. So it's you never know what to expect.
Demarcus Ware is with us as part of a reminder that they got the taste of the NFL this weekend. This is Sunday at the Abacus Restaurant on McKinney. It's a huge tailgate party with lots of world-famous chefs, cowboy cheerleaders, desperado dancers. Leroy Glover will be there. Demarcus, it's Sunday. It benefits the North Texas Food Bank. That's Sunday at Abacus on McKinney. By the way, we've got some free tickets to that to give away here. Demarcus, one thing in the locker room, and then I've got a few other questions about your experience in the NFL.
Okay.
Last week, it was revealed that T.O. would have sporadic attendance at the voluntary, well, I don't know if we should use the word voluntary workout program, but we'll keep that. And now it's been revealed, Jerry yesterday said that T.O. has his own sort of private agreement with Bill about his attendance at the voluntary workouts. Mm-hmm. Does this, I know this is putting you on a real spot, does this bother you at all that an arrangement has been made with another player?
Actually, that doesn't really bother me at all. When I see myself working hard, and then he come in, he's actually built up better than I am, and then runs faster than I am, does all the agility drills better than me. I'm like, I've been working as hard as you are. What are you doing? You know what I mean? So I mean, I give all my head talk to him, so he's actually doing something right. So I don't have anything to say about it.
Well, Demarcus, what do you think would happen if you sauntered into Bill's office and said, I think I want next week off so I can go to Mazatlan, Coach?
Hey, I don't know. That wouldn't happen.
That word voluntary isn't quite that, is it?
Yeah, no, voluntary means mandatory, you know?
Yes, Demarcus Ware, you are volunteering to be here the next 6 weeks.
Yes, but if you're not here, we're going to say it's mandatory, you know?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Let me take you back to last year. You get ready to come into the NFL. What was your biggest misconception about the league? Was there something that was harder than you thought it would be? A lot harder.
Actually, the competition is actually harder than college. I know that that's people wouldn't think that, but everyone's at the top of their level. They're smart. It's more of a mental game than a physical game. That's what the main thing. I thought, I see all the big hits. I see a lot of guys getting knocked out in the NFL, but actually it's a big mental game. It's all about, your schemes that you're going to do against the defenses, the scheme that you're going to do against the offenses, and it's totally mental. Demarcus,
when people hear the word playbook, they think automatically about offense. They got all these pass patterns and all these blocking schemes and everything. From a defensive player's standpoint, how big is your playbook?
It's about the size of a Webster's dictionary, I mean, it's a big playbook, and I got to know the defensive line and the linebacker. So I had to, be versatile in both. And the playbook is really big. It has a lot of plays in it, just like offense. We're scheming up just as much as they're scheming against us, and it's a lot of entails when it comes to, playing football.
Well, you were a rookie in the league. You actually played two different positions last year. You played defensive end and you played linebacker. When you're in the game, again, people hear the word audible and they'll think of offense, that the offense is changing its play. How many times does the defense at the last second call an audible?
Sometimes the defense do call audibles. I mean, it's not very often. Usually you have a package that you're going to go against the offense, and then you call a play against certain formations. But the offense has changed, so you got to make your adjustments too. And so if you see the offense change, the defense is doing just the same.
When you were in camp last year, and you're trying to figure out how the NFL works, was there one veteran you sort of looked at and figured, hey, if I do things like this guy, I'll be fine?
Actually, it was Greg Ellis. He was a real hard-working guy. I mean, he's been playing for 10 or 11 years, and we getting out there and pass rushing and running gassers, doing all the stuff that, players do. And I see him doing it, better than a lot of other guys, but he's older. And I see his work ethic, so I'm like, hey, maybe I need to, tailor myself behind him to be just as good as him,
Demarcus, there were good days and bad days in training camp and early and mid-season. Were there occasions when you hadn't played particularly well in a practice or a game that some veterans came over to you to just sit down with you and try to put things in perspective?
Yeah, after, I haven't had a good game, some veterans will come over like Leroy Glover or Greg Ellis or Dat Wynn and will pinpoint the things that I need to work on. So in practice, I can really work on those things. So the next game, they won't be worrying about if Demarcus is going to get up under this block. Do I need to have his back on, in cover 2 or something, Mm-hmm. So I think that, those guys really just came up to me and just let me know what I did wrong, and it really just helped me out throughout the whole season.
Finally, there's talk the Cowboys may at some point in the draft add to their linebacker situation here. You now will go into your second camp. If there is a rookie linebacker or defensive lineman added to the team, will you go over to that person and say, hey, don't worry about Bill, he screams at all rookies?
I'll actually say that. I'll say, you probably be his first round pick, third round pick, whatever pick you are. He's out, to better you. And you got to understand that, he's out to better. You got to understand. You got to just be able to take, the criticism. It's all about taking criticism, and what are you going to do about it? Are you going to, drop dead, or are you going to perform? Either one of the two.
Hey, Demarcus, I really enjoy the chat. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thanks.
Hey, be well.
Bye-bye.
Demarcus Ware of the Dallas Cowboys. Wow, what a nice young man he is. Well-spoken, and that was still... Frito, that was one of the funniest things we had on the draft in the last few years. And, in fact, Bob and Dan have replayed that on their show. When we reached Demarcus Ware, right after the Cowboys took him, he thought we were the Cowboys calling him. And I started asking questions about what are you going to buy and things like this. It was really fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, it makes it all worth it. All that work makes it all worth it.
I don't think you think so, Frito. I think that was feigned emotion.
Hey, I'm going to produce on the air. Don't forget to go over the draft stuff today.
That's next.
Okay.
That's next. And then we will get into the Mavericks and break down their playoff with the Grizz. But next, stay here because in 8 days we're going to have the draft. And you will never have heard a draft done this way because of the access the Cowboys are giving us to information. That's